Alright guys, what I want to do in this video is prepare our inquiry form or our contact form. So that's going to be in our templates and then in listings and listing.html. Okay, so it's at the bottom, this inquiry modal here, and there's quite a bit that we need to do here. First thing I'm gonna start with is the form tag. So we need to add an action to this. Now, we haven't created any URLs yet for contacts, but we will. So I'm going to put in here, let's say URL, and we'll just say contact. Okay. We also want to make sure that this is a post form, so we want to say method equals post. And when we have a post form in Django, we want to make sure that we secure it with our CSRF token. And then this property here is just static, so I just want to replace this with our listing name. Remember, we're in the listing.html file where we pass the listing in, so we have access to all of the fields of a listing. We also have access to the user stuff. So if the user is logged in, I actually want to send the user ID as a hidden input field because we're going to need that. So let's go, where should we go? Let's go right under the token right here, and let's put an if statement. So we'll say if user dot is underscore authenticated, and I just want to put an else here as well. Okay, then we need an end if. So if the user is authenticated, I'm going to put a hidden input. So I'm going to say input hidden. The name is going to be user underscore ID, and then the value is going to be user.id. Now, else, if the user isn't authenticated, I'm still going to send this input. Okay, I'm still going to send it, but I'm going to set the value to 0, okay? And this is just going to make things easier for us on the other side when we handle the submission. So I also want to send along a couple other things. I want to send the email, the email of the realtor and the listing ID. And the reason I want to send the email is because I want to send the realtor an email when there's a new submission. So we're going to go right under the end if, okay, this shouldn't be in the conditional, and we want to put an input, okay, so this is going to be hidden again, and name for this is going to be realtor underscore email, and the value, okay, so the value is going to be listing dot realtor. And remember, since the relationship between a realtor and a listing, we can get any fields from the realtor model, and we want the email. So we can do that. At the same time, I want to get the listing ID as a hidden input. So I'm going to copy this down, and I'm going to change this to listing underscore ID. And of course, we can do listing.id for that. Okay, so now let's handle the name and the email. If the user is logged in, I actually want the value to display as their name and their email. So let's go to, we want to be in the input. I'll go right after the class and right before the required here. And let's put an if statement in here. Okay, so I'm going to say if user dot is authenticated, and I'm just going to put the end if. So if the user is authenticated, then I'm going to put a value attribute, and that value attribute is going to be equal to user dot, what is this, email? Is this the email? No, this is the name, so user dot name. Okay, we want to do the same thing for the email, so I'm going to copy this whole if statement, go right here for the email, paste it in, and I'm just going to change this to user.email. Why is this discolored? That's weird. Is it like that up here too? No. Class, form, control. Yeah, that should still work. It's just a VS Code thing. So, is that it? I think that's it. So at the bottom, input type submit. Good. All right, so let's save this. And first thing, let's see if we have any errors. So if I reload the page, we do. Reverse contact not found. So basically, the reason we're getting this error is because there's no URL with the name of contacts. So what we're going to do is in our contacts app, just like we've been doing with just about every other app, we want to create a urls.py file. And in this file, we're actually only going to have one URL, and that's for the submission. So let's just quickly say from Django.urls, we want to import path, and let's bring in our views. So from all, import views, and then we want to do our URL patterns. Okay, and we just want one path here. And the path, I'm just going to make it, let's see, what are we going to do here? Let's say contact. Yeah, contact, and that's going to go to views dot contact, and let's say name equals contact. Now, just like with any other URL file, we have to basically include it in the main urls.py. And we're getting this error because there's no contact method. We'll add that in a second. But let's go to btre urls. And we're just going to do what we did with the rest of these. I'm just going to copy this down. And this will be contacts. It's going to go to contacts.urls. Alright, so we'll save that, and let's create our view method. So we'll go to our contacts app and then views.py, and let's say define contact, pass in our request, and for now let's just return, save that, and that should get rid of the error in the urls.py if I resave it. There we go. Alright, so now let's make sure that we have no errors. Let's reload, and good. If we make an inquiry, so the correct listing is in here, 33 Essex Circle. Actually though, I'm logged in. Okay, so it has the email, but it's not showing the name. Okay, why is it not showing the name? Oh, the reason it's not showing the name is because the user doesn't have a name. It has a first name and a last name. So we want to go down to where we tested right here in the input, and we put user.name. We're actually going to put user.firstname space user.lastname. All right. Let's try that. So now if I reload and we make an inquiry, nope, that didn't work either. Oh, you know why it didn't work? Because Brad, the user Brad, doesn't have a first and last name. If we go to users and we look at Brad, there's no first and last name, so that's actually fine. Let's try to log in as Kathy and see what happens. Because for the first name and last name, it's not required. So if we go to a listing and make an inquiry, there we go, Kathy Smith. Good. So in the next video, we're going to start to handle the submission. So I will see you then.